Hi, Filter here. Hmm. I know some of you out there are. I've seen a few reviews of Star Trek STD or STD, and I know some of you are having a little bit of withdrawal from a real Star Trek. But I'm going to suggest something, and that is Volume One of DC Comics Star Trek. Now, before I get more into depth about that, a quick overview. Originally, Gold Key had done Star Trek way back when. Unfortunately, they didn't have really enough to really do to capitalize on the mythos of Star Trek, the Enterprise, the whole nine. They just didn't have enough. I mean, there were issues in which the size of the Enterprise seemed to be no bigger than an airliner, and there were issues in which Scotty had blonde hair. They did the artists didn't know, the writers just basically had to pretty much wing it, and most of the covers, if you remember, were photographs of the issue of an issue, particular issue. Now we jump ahead to around 1979 when Marvel acquired the rights to do Star Trek in comic form. And it started out with Star Trek: The Motion Picture. This lasted a few years, up until 1982 and early '82 when it was dropped. And what had happened was they had Marvel. It was dropped because, as we all know, in '82, Wrath of Khan came out. Now, it is kind of funny, even though Marvel did its best to kind of do the stories, they still really, they still really couldn't, match up to what we expect in Trek. I mean, they tried their best. It just, it was their interpretation, and they did, and it kind of fell flat. Now, DC, however, back in 1984, acquired the rights. And I can tell you right now, thanks to Michael W. Barr and Tom Sutton being the artist, Michael W. Barr being the writer, I can tell you that those issues were the best. I mean, I religiously collected them. They were well written. From the get go, we find that there's a conspiracy of individuals trying to get the Federation and the Klingons to go to war. We're also introduced to a character by the last name of Bearclaw, who's the son of a captain who unfortunately had died in a Klingon attack. Not exactly a Michael Burnham, but hey, he's got a real chip on his shoulder, okay? We're also introduced to a guy named Kanem, a Klingon, who's not violent. In subsequent issues, at least by 1986, 87, there's a quick joke that they make because Konam winds up becoming a crew member on the Enterprise, and what happens is McCoy and Kirk are having this conversation. He says, "Huh, I can't believe it. There's actually Klingons serving in Starfleet. Do you ever think that they're ever going to be, we're ever going to be friends with the Klingons?" And at one point, the reply is, "Well, not in this generation." And I think Kirk's reply is, "Well, maybe the next," which is a nice homage to what we would get with the next generation. But let me jump back now. Uh, in issue 9, the end of issue 9, the final pages of issue 9, we're introduced to, or reintroduced to, the Terran Empire and the Mirror Universe saga, which is in trade paperback. So if you ever are at your local comic book shop and you happen to find it, buy it. You will not regret it. They even give an origin to how the Terran Empire formed. It's much different from the one depicted as canon in Enterprise, but it's still very fascinating nonetheless. So again, should you come across it, buy it. If you have to knock somebody out to grab it, get it, do it. That's just do it. Throughout the series, numerous writers from Trek alumni Diane Duane and eventually Peter David contributed to the writing. Um, and again, they upheld the Trek story as best they could. And me personally, I think again, if should you come across these old back issues and you're a real Trek fan, it's worth every penny. If you find them in a dollar bin, get them. Especially grab them up. If you want to go on eBay or Amazon to find them, get them. Like I said, Volume 1, Star Trek by DC. Worth every penny. And I guess that's about it all for me. If you guys have any suggestions, leave it down in the comment below. Rate this video if you like. And until then, I'm Filter. Y'all take care now.